Spent the whole day studying and still brain dead? Can't remember a single page? Meanwhile, CIA agents can learn new languages and memorize classified documents in just a few days, without flashcards or textbooks. The secret lies in how their brains are trained. And now, you're about to learn the exact steps they use. Let's start with the first killer trick. Step 1. Sleep learning, the sneaky method. You think your brain shuts off when you sleep? Not exactly. Your brain doesn't stop. It just switches to a different mode called theta waves, the dreamy, semi-unconscious state. And this state is the secret backdoor to install data into your brain without studying the usual way. During the Cold War, Soviet agents were actually trained using a real method called hypnopedia, aka sleep learning. They were exposed to foreign languages, codes, and critical info while in a half-asleep state when their brainwaves were between 4 and 7 hertz. The results were insane. Many doubled or tripled their language acquisition speed, with 0 formal lessons. You don't need to be a spy or have a lab to do this. Here's your upgrade. About 15 minutes before bed, dim the lights, kill the blue screens, and prep the material you want to absorb. Could be vocab, math formulas, or key ideas. Play theta wave music at 4 hertz. Just search theta waves 4 hertz on YouTube and listen while reviewing your content. Then let the music play softly as you drift off to sleep. Why it works? As your brain enters that hazy zone, the prefrontal cortex, your logic center, starts to chill. But the hippocampus, your memory hub, kicks into high gear. The stuff you just looked at gets moved from RAM to hard drive, aka short-term memory, to long-term storage. Bonus, if you have a small trigger like snapping your fingers, spraying a certain scent, or wearing a study-only pajama top, your brain starts linking it with, oh, it's memory time. Heads up, don't use podcasts or lyrical music. They mess with the process. Stick with pure theta tones or wordless binaural beats. And yeah, make sure you actually get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Both REM and non-REM stages are critical for locking memories in. Bottom line, just 10 minutes of study before sleep plus the right brainwaves equals your brain absorbs info like it's downloading in your dreams. No forcing, no grinding, way more effective than you'd think. Step 2. Focus in chaos. Chaos mode. You need a quiet environment to study well. In fact, silence can trick you into thinking you're focused when you're really not. CIA agents, totally different story. They're trained to absorb information, memorize data, and stay sharp right in the middle of sirens, gunfire, and people screaming. Sounds wild, but it's how their brains get numb to distractions, unaffected by the environment, whether they're in a bar, a war zone, or a packed mall. The science behind it is simple. When you study in chaos, your brain is forced to filter out noise and funnel energy into the right focus. This is how you train your brain's selective attention filter. But don't worry, you don't need a battlefield to get the same effect. All you need is to simulate a decent level of noise at home, and your brain will gradually build resistance to distractions. The simplest way, play ambient noise like cafe chatter, light traffic, wind, or footsteps while you study. There are hundreds of these tracks on YouTube and Spotify. Search coffee shop background or urban chaos simulation. Once you're used to the background hum, add in a deliberate distraction. Set a timer to play a soft ding, a bell, or even a light siren every 7 minutes. At first, it'll break your focus. That's normal. But stick with it. After a few days, you'll stop flinching or getting pulled away by the sound. That's your brain actively filtering, learning to tune out the irrelevant. When you're ready, increase the difficulty. Add louder conversations, more layered sounds, or take your study session into real public spaces. Libraries, cafes, crowded parks. The key isn't to force yourself into extreme focus. Let your brain adapt naturally. You're basically cheating by making your brain handle a task under pressure. Then when you return to a normal environment, everything feels light and effortless. This is one of the core spy strategies for learning sensitive materials in the worst conditions possible. And you can totally use it to study, prep for exams, or memorize work stuff, even if your neighbor's blasting karaoke next door. Step 3. Drop a sensory anchor. Unlock deep memory. Ever catch a familiar smell, like perfume, rain, or ink, and suddenly a memory hits you out of nowhere? That's not random. The human brain stores scents more powerfully than almost any other type of input, even visuals or words. CIA agents use this exact fact to create something called a sensory anchor, a way to attach memories to a specific smell, color, or sound so that a small trigger can bring back a flood of information instantly, like hitting rewind on your brain. Here's how it works. Your olfactory bulb, the part of your brain that processes smell, sits right next to your hippocampus, the memory center. When you're exposed to a certain scent while studying, your brain tags that smell with an emotional imprint and links it to whatever info you're learning. Then later, if you reintroduce the same smell, your brain pulls up the exact memory file attached to it. That's why something as simple as the scent of old books or menthol can throw you back to your childhood. You can use this technique starting today to massively boost your recall. While studying, pick one unique sensory trigger, like chewing mint gum, sniffing cinnamon oil, playing a specific instrumental track, or wearing a bold-colored shirt. Stick with that exact trigger every time you study a specific subject. For example, sweet orange scent for English vocab, lemongrass oil for math formulas. Your brain will naturally link that sensory cue to the material. Then, when it's go time, like during an exam, presentation, or high-stress work session, bring back the same scent, shirt, or music. It'll reactivate the memory cluster your brain stored earlier. It literally feels like flipping a switch and retrieving a file from your mental archives. CIA agents use this when they need to recall razor-sharp details during a mission. Things like room layouts, passcodes, or a suspect's face. They use the same perfume, code phrase, or visual cue to trigger precise memory. You, of course, won't need it for covert ops, but you can totally use it to ace your next test, learn a new skill, or lock in a presentation script. Dropping a sensory anchor is one of the easiest, highest impact techniques out there, especially if you're the type who blanks out every time you step into an exam room or up on stage. Step 4. Memory Palace. Turn your home into a living library. Ever walked into a room and totally forgot what you were about to do? That's not you being forgetful. It's your memory relying on space to function. The human brain uses something called spatial memory. It constantly links information to physical locations. And that's the core of one of the most powerful memory techniques used by agents. The Memory Palace, turning the place you live into a living library where every step refreshes your knowledge. Instead of cramming data blindly, you assign each piece of information to a familiar spot in your home. Your desk is where you store English vocab. Your bedroom mirror holds math formulas. The fridge door displays your daily goals, and the bathroom sink reminds you of motivational quotes. Just walking past these places triggers your brain to recall the linked info, like how seeing the gym door makes you think of working out, even if nobody said a word. Psychologists call this the method of loci, and ancient Roman orators used it to memorize hundreds of lines without writing anything down. CIA agents use it to memorize mission structures, code sequences, or step-by-step plans by imagining each piece of data placed in a specific location within a familiar space. You can do this today. No need to build a whole palace in your imagination. Just use your actual home. Every time you finish learning a chunk of content, stand in a specific spot and say it out loud, like standing at the bathroom door and reciting 3 geometry theorems, standing at your front door and reviewing Japanese sentence structures, or sitting at your dining table and rehearsing 3 interview answers in English. Repeat this a few times, and your brain will automatically associate the data with the location. Want to level it up? Mentally map your house into learning zones. Stepping out of your room. Did you recall today's goals? Passing the mirror equals review 5 key points. Opening the fridge equals ask yourself, have I reviewed yet? Each time you move, you're not just walking through your house, you're walking through your own mental library, custom built for your brain. This is a super effective method for people who forget easily, are learning multiple subjects at once, or prepping for exams with lots of topics. The more familiar the space, the deeper the memory sticks. At that point, your home isn't just a place to live, it becomes your knowledge hub, where every step sparks recall. Step 5. Interleaving subjects. Brain training like a gym workout. Ever study the same subject for hours and feel like your brain just freezes? Like you're zoning out, forgetting everything, and can't focus? That's not because you're slow, it's because your brain's getting fried from repetitive overload. You're overworking one mental muscle while the others go idle. CIA agents never train like that. They use a technique called active interleaving, mixing different subjects like a full-body workout for your brain. It boosts endurance, flexibility, and long-term memory. The principle is super simple. Instead of studying one thing nonstop for 2 hours, break it into short sets. For example, 10 minutes of math formulas, switch to 10 minutes of history reading, then back to math exercises, then jump to English listening practice. Sounds chaotic? It's not. This method forces your brain to cross-link information and context switch constantly, activating multiple memory systems at once. The result? Your brain builds muscle like it's doing a full workout, not just curling one arm till it crashes. Scientific research backs this up. Interleave learning leads to deeper memory retention, better real-world application, and is especially powerful for problem-solving subjects like math, languages, and coding. Why? Because your brain doesn't get the chance to stagnate. Every time you switch topics, you trigger a context jump, a moment when your brain must sort, process, and store data actively. It's like telling a story while cooking. That memory sticks way harder than just sitting still and listening. Want to try it right now? Easy. Pick 2 to 3 subjects you need to cover today. Break them into 10 to 15-minute blocks. Study Block A, say, physics formulas. Then switch to Block B, English vocab. Then Block C, history reading. And loop back A, B, C. Use a timer app like Pomodoro, or just set simple alarms. At first, it may feel a little choppy, but after a few days, your brain will get super sharp. You'll be able to jump right back into any topic within seconds. This is exactly why CIA training includes constant context shifts, from geography drills to file analysis, physical training to foreign language immersion, all stacked like a mental circuit workout. You don't need a CIA bootcamp to learn like this. Just switch up how you schedule your study time, and you'll start upgrading your brain into a real-deal memory machine. Step 6. Trigger the learning switch. Ever notice how the school bell rings and your brain instantly snaps into time to learn mode, even before you open a book? That's a classic example of cue-based learning. But CIA pros don't wait around for bells. They create their own triggers. A simple move, pulling a glove strap, adjusting a watch, taking a deep breath, flips their entire nervous system into mission mode, and you can do the same. With the right trigger, your brain will shift into focus mode automatically. This isn't just some productivity gimmick. It's a legit conditioned response built through repetition. When you link a specific action with starting a study session and repeat that action enough times, your brain pairs that behavior with a focused mental state. Over time, just doing the action gets your head in the game. It's like how holding a coffee mug makes you feel more alert, or how a certain playlist instantly boosts your work energy. Here's how to do it. Pick one specific action and do it every single time you start studying. It could be putting on blue light glasses, switching on your desk lamp, snapping your fingers, or playing the same background track every time. The key: do this same exact action for at least 5 to 7 straight days, even if you're only studying for 10 minutes. Your brain will start coding that action as a signal. Dopamine gets prepped, emotional noise quiets down, and your prefrontal cortex, your focus zone, powers on. That's how you turn a tiny action into a trigger, and yourself into a focus sniper. CIA agents don't have the luxury of easing into study mode. They act the second a cue hits. And by training your brain to respond to a fixed trigger, you'll be building your own personal start switch, one that cuts down warm-up time, crushes procrastination, and activates memory on demand. No more wasting 30 minutes doom scrolling before getting into study mode. Just snap your fingers or flip the light and boom, your mind's locked in. Here are some easy triggers to try. Switch on a lamp you only use for study time. Spray a specific scent before each session. Tap the desk twice. Wear a ring or bracelet only when you're focusing. Snap your fingers, tap your shoulder, or play one go-to instrumental track. The simpler the trigger, the stronger the habit. You're not just signaling your brain, you're installing a custom study protocol like a true undercover pro. And once this reflex is locked in, you'll be able to study anywhere, library, cafe, crowded street, as long as you snap, switch, or spray your cue. Your brain will know. It's game time. With just 6 simple steps, you've now leveled up your entire study game. No more mindless memorizing, no more forcing yourself, and yet you'll retain deeply and focus like a beast. From learning in your sleep to thriving in chaos, from anchoring your senses to turning your house into a living library, these are the exact tools once used by agents to survive and remember in the most high-stress environments on Earth. You don't need to become a spy, but you can learn like one if you're willing to test these tactics starting today. Now it's your turn. Pick one tip you like the most, drop it in the comments, and try it out in the next 24 hours. If it works, come back, share your experience, or send this video to a friend who's struggling to make anything stick. And if you want even more smart study hacks and brain-boosting strategies, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications. I've got more classified tactics coming your way to help you study less, remember more, and level up faster than anyone else.